bring you to this runner from BellatorGero.com. Not arrogant, just better. Just getting my pre-fight predictions on UFC Live. Cruz versus Mighty Mouse Johnson in a title fight. It's looking pretty good. This fight card is not totally stacked, but it's alright, and I'm going to watch it, no doubt. I'm just going to give a little recap on UFC 135, Jones versus Rampage. I went 4-1 on this fight card, or should I say 5-1, because I went with Mizugaki as well. Yeah, Ben Rothwell, I think the referee should have stopped that fight after round 2, but it went on anyways. And yeah, I agree with Steven Seagal saying that John Jones did not look himself, because he didn't. I think he could have taken down Rampage whenever he wanted. Obviously he did what he wanted in that fight and won via submission, which I quoted that he'd win. Yeah, but he didn't look himself, and I think Dana White and the UFC are not giving Rashad Evans enough credit, because they're saying, oh, if he clears out this division, meaning they're already preempting that he's going to clear out the division, then he'll move to heavyweight. And I think that's a bit unfair to the fighters who are still in the mix. I'd say Rashad Evans got a really good chance of winning. I'd say if Thiago Silva comes off his drugs ban and moves up to the weight class, he's got a good chance. But apart from that, that's the only thing. But anyways, going to move on to UFC Live, Johnson versus Cruz. I'm going to start off with the first fight, which is Matt Wiman versus Mark Danzig. Matt Danzig is coming off a win, big win. He would have got cut if he didn't win the fight against Joe Stevenson, and Danzig, he got ripped off when he fought Dennis Cyber. Dennis Cyber did not win that fight. I had it 2-1 for Matt Wiman, and I think Danzig is going to be losing this fight for sure. Wiman's going to win this fight. He's going to win by a ground and pound, second round. I'm not going to go too deep into that, because I think that's all you need to know. Anyways, moving on to the next fight, we've got Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Charlie Brenneman. One thing that kind of annoyed me straight away when I saw this is I did some more research on Brenneman, and since Rick's story, yeah, he did well, but Sherdog have got him at number 7 welterweight in the world, which is, I think that's miles higher than he should be in the rankings. I don't want to start naming off all these welterweights, but there's a lot of fighters who are ahead of him. I know when he took out Rick's story, he did jump up the rankings a little bit, but still, anyways. Charlie Brenneman is fighting Anthony Rumble Johnson. Johnson likes to knock out people. He's got good wrestling. He's going to be a lot bigger than Brenneman. Brenneman's got the lower centre of gravity. I think he's got the little bit better wrestling, and I don't think he's going to be able to smother Johnson like he did. But it depends which Johnson tips up, you know what I mean? Johnson, after about a year and a half out, fought Dan Hardy. Dan Hardy hasn't got much of a ground game, and he really took care of him and did him pretty sweet, to be honest. I'm going to go in this fight, I'm going to go with Anthony Rumble Johnson. I'm going to say that the Rick Story fight was an upset, and he's going to go back to where the pecking order should be, and Brenneman is not number 7 welterweight in the world. I think he got lucky, not lucky, he had a good game plan against Rick Story, and yeah, she's going to go back to pecking order, because Johnny Hendricks knocked out Brenneman, and Hendricks is not top 10 welterweight in the world, so we'll see how it goes. Anyways, I'm going to pick Anthony Rumble Johnson by a second round knockout. Yeah, good with a second round knockout. And Brenneman's going to be fighting someone else, maybe on the undercard again, because the Rick Story win was a one-off, and I think if it came around again, he's not going to do it. But anyways, moving on to the next fight. Right, my fight that I'm looking forward to, which is Stephen Struve versus Pat Barry. Stephen Struve's coming off a big knockout loss of the Hawaiian, what's his name? Travis Brown. Yeah, he's coming off a big knockout loss of Travis Brown. It was his fight to lose, and he lost it. He didn't fight smart. He went and banged with the Hawaiian, which I don't think he really should have. Because if he took him into the second and third round, he would have gassed, no doubt about that. And yeah, he's fighting Pat Barry. Pat Barry, I think a lot of fights where he should have won, he's not won. Like I think the Czech Congo fight, he should have won that fight. He shouldn't had that rush of blood to his head and finish him, and then he got finished in that fight. And I felt sorry for Pat Barry because I really like him and he's a passionate guy. I think the Czech Congo, the Crow Cup fight, he could have won that hands down very easily, but he was showing too much respect to Crow Cup, and which he shouldn't have. So in this fight, I think that there's going to be a whole foot gap between these guys, because I know Pat Barry's 5'11" and Stephen Struve is 6'11", so the reach advantage is going to be pretty sick. But I think the way that Pat Barry throws his overhand right, he throws the knuckles right in the face. I think he's going to get the knockout on this fight. Obviously, if it goes to the ground, Pat Barry was like a turtle on his back, but he's been working with Brock Lesnar and the guys up at that camp, and I think Def Clutch is a really good wrestling base. So Pat Barry, I think he's going to get this fight. I think I'm working on this fight more heart than anything else, because I really like Pat Barry. Stephen Struve, he's a good heavyweight. I do like him. I don't dislike him as such. I'd say he's one of my more favourite heavyweights, but he doesn't fight smart, and I think in fights where I think he's going to lose, he pulls it out sometimes. But I'm definitely going to go with Pat Barry on this fight. I think Pat Barry's going to get it right via first or second round. No, we'll go first round knockout, because Pat Barry comes out strong, and when he lands that overhand right, it's going to be game over, and we'll see how it goes. But Pat Barry, and I think this is a must-win fight for both fighters. I think Stephen Struve needs to win this fight because he's almost on the verge of getting cut. Pat Barry, he's teetering, and I think both fighters have got one more fight in them if they lose. But yeah, I'm going to go with Pat Barry. I'm going to go with first round knockout. And moving on to the main event, we have Dominic Cruz versus Mighty Mouse Johnson. Mighty Mouse Johnson against Miguel Torres. It was a very close fight, and I did give it to Miguel Torres, only because I don't think they respect enough that how active that Miguel Torres was off his back. He's got a crazy submissions and everything off his back, and I did give him that fight. It went either way, but that's just how it went. And he's fighting Dominic Cruz, which is coming off a big win over defending his title against Uriah Faber, and that's his only loss in MMA. Mighty Mouse Johnson is only coming off one loss in his whole career, and this is going to be an interesting fight. These guys are going to be going at 110 mile an hour for the whole fight. Johnson's obviously going to use his wrestling. He's got good hands. Dominic Cruz moves around like a crazy person. He's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got good cardio and got good striking. And this fight is totally up in the air. Thinking back and forth about who's going to win this fight, I'm not really sure. And I'm just going to go with... I know that Dominic Cruz does have a problem with wrestlers, like he did against Uriah Faber. I think Mighty Mouse Johnson is going to be quicker in terms of his takedowns. He's just so quick. But, and there's a big but, I'm going to go with Dominic Cruz. I think he's got the better striking. I think he's going to control the fight by how he dances about and jumps around the cage. Yeah, I'm going to go decision on this fight. I don't think either fight is going to finish the other person, because I don't think they've got the killer instinct to do it, to be honest. I don't think Mighty Mouse Johnson, he didn't really try to finish the fight against Miguel Torres. I don't think Miguel Torres was in any trouble at all in that fight. Dominic Cruz, I don't think he's got the punching power to knock people out, you know what I mean? If he catches someone when they're a bit hurt, I don't think he's going to catch Mighty Mouse Johnson, to be honest. And I'm going to go with Dominic Cruz winning this fight by decision. It's going to be a close fight. It's a split decision, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I want to know who's next for 135. And I know Dana White says all these 145ers and 135ers have shown that they should be on main cards, but why are you putting them on a UFC live if that's the case? Because that's just showing that not many people will watch this fight as such, because the gate receipts show that you'll probably get about 6,000 at the most at these fights. Not going to get many views in terms of just everything. So if you're saying they're up there, put them on the main card. Don't put them on the undercard like the Grey Maynard fight versus Frankie Edgar. You're putting like Jose Aldo versus Kenny Florian on the undercard. If they're the big main people, then put them on the top, or wait for another fight card and put them at the top of it. Because I think when you're putting them on the undercard, or not the undercard, putting them on a single event where it's a live or a tough event or something like that, it doesn't give them enough credit. And why don't you just bring them to the UK or something like that, have them fight there, because I think it'll be a better main event than Chris Lieben versus Munoz. But anyways, we'll stop ranting. Yeah, that's it for my UFC live predictions. I'm going to put the post up again for who you want to win, Johnson or Dominic Cruz. I'm going to go Dominic Cruz up this end, put thumbs up for him, and my Miles Johnson, let's go here for him, thumbs down. So let me know who you think. Post your predictions below. If you've got a comment or a video you want to reply with, just post it below. Yeah, give me a comment. Remember to subscribe. Check us out at BellatorGuerrero.com. And this is Runner signing out for UFC Live. I'm signing out. Peace.